I think, and as a young investigator, I'm very enthusiastic about the idea, but of course, with tenure committee and all these considerations, the apprehensions are there. But so to get to that, VTech, you made the comment that if the journal sees an article that's submitted, if it's not obvious nonsense, it's accepted. Now, to me, there's a lot of ambiguity there, particularly with, although I like the idea of publishing null findings, because especially, I mean, the compelling case made with medical research, clinical trials, et cetera, publishing null findings is critical. But how do you make that assessment that it's not obvious research, obvious nonsense, and how do you keep the journal from becoming a dustbin for failed dissertations or dissertations where the null hypothesis was not rejected?
Well, I think, I don't know the future, but there are very few papers that people submitted that were obvious nonsense, and the papers that, and when we mean obvious nonsense, it's completely obvious nonsense. That's what we mean. So otherwise we don't judge it. We traditionally think of the word published, that it means published in the sense that it has been now checked out and it's okay. But published doesn't mean that, strictly speaking, and that's not how it started. Published simply means made public. And when we say published, we simply said, yeah, this paper has been submitted, and the author takes some responsibilities because he knows, or she knows, that it's going to be seen by people and people will judge it, and that referees might say very bad things about it, so be careful and think about it, and it's a good discipline of anybody to do it. The worry, the fear that many young investigators has about how it will affect their future is to some extent misplaced. If from time to time you have a paper that nature will accept, we will not stand in your way, and it's the thing. But there is something else happening that is really bad for science. A lot of findings are never published. We're talking about the negative and the thing which is incredibly important and must be published, criminal. But lots of small findings are never published, which may not change the world but may help somebody sometime. There are lots of science that is hidden under the surface, that never sees the light of day, and it's not a good thing. There is no reason why it should be. Science is about telling people, I found something. And now in the world that we live in the world of web, the space is available and the search tools are so strong that you're not going to be overwhelmed with nonsense, because it's very easy to get rid of nonsense by reasonable searching techniques. So we want to encourage people, and especially young scientists, publish small findings, published orphan data sets, published findings. No research is ever completely finished. Everything goes forever. Don't decide that you have to wait until you've got some huge important statement. Make small statements, they add up, and let other scientists take the statement and run with them, and you use others to run with them. That's, in many ways, is one of our motives. Published more and published quicker.
Yeah, and just to add one phrase, I mean, corroborating positive results oftentimes don't make it in the published literature as well. It all depends on where the investigator or that lab as a whole is, otherwise in terms of other opportunities to investigate, that they won't publish even corroborating positive results because it wouldn't register as sufficiently novel. And that's as problematic to me, trying to referee what should move forward, what should not move forward in subsequent investigations clinically.
But I think you said it. One of the measures is how much you published. How high is the impact factor of the journal is one measure, but how many things you publish is a very significant measure. Yeah. It's a measure of how active you are and how. And not everything has to be important, and we often don't know what's going to be important. A friend of mine, a great scientist, Sidney Brenner, is a fantastic thing. He said, for me, the single most important journal is Biochemica, Biophysica, ACTA. They publish little facts, and I just love little facts. Give me some little facts, I know what to do with them. Don't be afraid. Give the little facts you find to others.
Thank you. I definitely see the utility of someone's name being attached to complete nonsense if they're not a total idiot. Wouldn't want to put that out there into the public domain. That's a strong factor too.